I have a wee bit of a confession to make. This is my brother's cup and I stole it, and he's gonna watch this video and probably get mad at me. But also, it's a test to see if he actually watches my videos, because I don't think he does. But if he gets mad at me for borrowing his cup, then I know that he actually watches my videos. And also, people ask me all the time, Abby, what are you so weird? Actually, is something that I get asked pretty often. Also, I get asked a lot what I do as a ramp agent, and to be honest, I mean, everything. That was so dramatic for what? First things first, a ramp agent does a little bit of everything. Ramp agents do a lot. So it depends if you work on baggage side or cargo side, or if you work at a small airport or a big airport. It also depends if you're with a contract company or directly under an airline. Your job is going to change depending on what services that airline provides or what services that cargo company provides. And that's another thing. There's a difference between a ramp agent for a airline and passenger side and then cargo side. I've done kind of like a little bit of everything. I started at an FBO, a fixed base operator. That was my first job in aviation. Hey, I was a fuel girl. I was on the fuel line. And that was my first job in aviation. And it was very different from the next job I got. So my second job was working on passenger side, and on the passenger side of things, you deal with a lot of bags. The main thing that you do for this job is you take care of the planes. So you don't really deal with people, you mainly deal with planes, and you deal with the elements outdoors. So the main components of this job are you gotta like being outside, and you gotta like being in inclement weather, and you gotta like planes, because that is most of the job. And it is a very physical job. There is a lot of pushing, there's a lot of pulling, there is a lot of walking. Again, that depends on the size of your ramp. And when I say ramp, that just refers to the outside area. That is just the airport operations area, the AOA, and you actually need a SIDA badge to get there. So one thing about being a ramp agent is you have to pass a background check, and then you have to pass a drug test, and you have to pass some pretty extensive tests to go through TSA and Homeland Department of Security, something like that. And you have to get the SIDA badge. And the badge allows you to go places that ain't nobody been before. No, that's a lie. It allows you to go places that passengers in the terminal aren't allowed to. So the reason for the SIDA badge and all this background screening is because you do handle things that are important, whether it's customers' luggage, that is obviously very special to the customer, whether you're handling passengers' baggage, that's very valuable and very important, or if you're on the cargo side, you might be handling explosives or DG, which is dangerous goods, corrosives, explosives, and things like that. Also, mail is another thing. There's a lot of mail. How could I forget the mail? The postal is one of the big money makers, and postal is extremely, extremely important. We also have vaccines now, so you could be handling vaccines and things for diseases and scientific research and people's cameras. And actually, ramp agents are frontline. I gotta remind myself that I'm a frontline worker. I've been working all throughout this pandemic. It's my choice, you know, but we're definitely frontline, but we're hidden. You don't see us because we're on the ramp at the airport, and unless we're on the passenger side of things and you look out your window, you ain't gonna see it. You are not just gonna handle important things though. They are also going to be heavy. They're going to be heavy things, but you're also going to be driving big equipment, or at the very least a tug. A tug, my favorite thing in the universe. I don't even know why. I don't even know what it stands for, but these are great. These are fun. They're also very heavy, very invincible. They don't drift that well. I'm not gonna say how I know that information. Moving on, being a ramp agent is so cool. It's cool. Like, yeah, it's grungy, it's a little bit goofy. You're out in the wind and the rain and the sleet, and you're there for 45 minutes while they're de-icing a plane, and passengers complain that the plane is 2 minutes late, and you're like, yo, like, I've been freezing my ass out for the past hour. Do you care? No. I really like that this job is active. It's a very active job. It's a very hands-on job, and you do learn a lot, whether you're new to aviation or not. I mean, I wasn't new to aviation when I went to cargo side. I came to cargo from passenger, but I still learned a lot because every company maybe uses a little bit different equipment. They use different rules, different regulations. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun because no day is exactly the same. You think those planes are gonna come in at the same time, but stuff happens all the time. And a lot of it is because it revolves around weather, and we can't control weather. It is the 21st century, and the weather controls a lot of our lives at the airport. So that is an element that can be a little bit frustrating about the job, but personally for me, I like it. I think it's exciting. And you do have to work pretty well on a team because most ramp job, like, you work on a team, and I love that aspect. It's a little bit like a sports team, and actually someone made this comment before. It's a lot like a sports team because you're all working towards the same goal on like a time frame, and there's a lot of physical activity involved, and you sort of have a coach. Like, generally you will have a ramp lead. People have asked me before, like, oh, like, the chair, like, why do you do it? It's dirty and it's a hard job and it doesn't pay that well. And I'm like, I think of that every day, to be honest, but A lot of it, I do it because of the people. I know you probably think like I'm obsessed with planes, but to be honest, I still don't really know plane types that well. Like I really don't. Like I can't tell if it's a 6-7 or a 5-7, and I can't tell if it's a 6-7 or an Airbus sometimes. I work the job for the people because people are goofy. You have to be goofy to work at the airport. You gotta be a little goofy to work at the airport because honestly, the job is not like other jobs. Like the hours are kind of insane. You're out in the weather. Like sometimes I'm really out there in 3-digit Fahrenheit weather, 110 degrees in the bin, in the cargo hold, in a plane that is white, around equipment that is radiating heat, off the tarmac floor that is black, that is also radiating heat. There's like heat coming from 4 areas with the sun above. It's always 10 degrees hotter, like 10 to 15 degrees hotter out on the ramp on any summer day. And I'm like, why do I do this? There's free popsicles in the break room? Hey, give me one. I mean, I don't know, like some of me is like the free food, but then I'm like, but now with COVID, we don't really get free food that often. Like we don't really get free food. So I can't say like, oh, I do it for the free food. Like, I think I just do it because I'm a little bit weird. I think a lot of ramp agents have like that adrenaline, like that need for speed. And then on cargo side, that is pretty similar, but we use a lot bigger equipment in general because everything's way heavier. And our planes look different inside. They're gutted. So they don't have passenger seats. They strip the passenger seats and they put in rails and locks and all these things on the floor. And it is the biggest tripping hazard in the world. One of the biggest flexes of my life is that I actually don't trip that much at work, and I be wearing big boots, double socks. I can't feel my toes because they're just cold because anemic. And there's like 18 different types of locks on the floor. I kid you not, on God, there's so many locks, so many. It's like the engineers just got up there, they're like on shrooms. These locks and rollers and rails are what help us put the big metal cans full of cargo into the plane. So cargo side is pretty different. So cargo side looks different inside the plane, and you're not going to be in the bin really ever. So it's kind of nice to be able to stand up straight, I guess, on cargo side. Like I'm never on my knees. On passenger side, you're on your knees a lot loading the bins. So if you have knee problems, that's kind of something to consider. But both of them are outside a lot. Both of them are tons of physical activity, lots of walking, working on a team, and learning how to have a sense of humor when that flight is delayed for 4 hours and then you wait 3.5 hours for it, and then half an hour before it was supposed to arrive, it gets canceled. Yeah, but I mean, at least they had free popcorn in the break room and we watched Coco while waiting, so there's that. My favorite part of this job has to be the salute that you give the captain at the end, because all their attention and their focus is on you at that moment, and it's just fun because you're out there on the taxiway. Also driving the tugs, and like I don't care that they're the slowest things on earth. Like I will drive that thing like a Lambo, like one arm on the wheel, one leg hanging out, which is not for policy, but I do it anyways. And they're like, yo, like the passenger bag, like you gotta go pick this up at Terminal 3, like the plane is about to leave, Abby, can you go grab it? And you're like, yes. You hop on that thing and you ride it like you stole it. Like there's miscellaneous things that go with this job too. Another part is being in bag room, which I already mentioned, but that is where you will be loading passengers, planes, or cargo into the cans, into the things that have to go onto the plane. That's not my favorite part. I like being outside, but that is a part of the job that you probably will have to do. There is also catering, which I do on cargo side. I do catering, but on passenger side, I did not do catering. Catering was a totally different company. So on cargo side, it's just like coffee, snacks, and food. And I like catering too. Catering's pretty fun because you're kind of on your own and you're just like hanging out. Can't make it this far in the video without mentioning the FOD walk. Do your FOD walks. Care about your FOD walks. Cherish your FOD walks. They are important though. They are, because there's so much trash on the ramp, and especially at PDX, it does get pretty windy with the winds, the east winds coming from the gorge. We don't wash planes, we don't fuel planes. We do de-ice planes though, and that is more training. So we do de-ice planes, we marshal planes in, we wing walk them, we onload them, we offload them. And there's also just random things. Like sometimes you'll do something that's not necessarily your job, or maybe not necessarily something you trained for, but if you're short staffed, they'll be like, hey, like you're not gonna do maintenance job, but maintenance might be like, hey, can you go grab me this from this part of the ramp? And you're like, yeah. Like I love that. I love being like messenger. I feel like this job, there is some parts where you play messenger a lot, and I always just feel like I'm going on an adventure because I watched too many Miyazaki Disney movies growing up as a kid. But I be grabbing my tug and I be riding it like a Lambo. You already know. And I'm like, I'm on a mission and I will not fail, except I did fail one time. I feel like this video did not answer any of your questions that you probably still have. So I actually gotta go, not to work even though I'm in my uniform, but I gotta go study, and then I think I'm gonna work out, and then I think I'm gonna change back in this to go to work. And it's just I hope this answered some of your questions, and if it didn't, drop a comment, because I actually do try to get back to all the comments. I do want to maybe do story times on things that have happened. It's just, there's just something every day. There's something every day, I swear. So leave a comment if you're interested in that. I hope you enjoyed the video, even if you didn't really learn anything, because apparently I really got off topic thinking about just all the crazy stories. I gotta go, but I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourself and staying safe and working hard and playing hard. I will see you in the next video. I don't know if it's gonna be 1 week. I don't know if it's gonna be 2 weeks. Love y'all. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. See you soon-ish. Time is a concept. So what that means? I don't know. You're in first class. Brenda, Linda. I've worked as a ramp agent for over a year now. Actually, it's been about a year and a half, I think. Actually, I'm not gonna do math right now, it's too early in the morning. That I was waiting outside for 50 minutes, waiting for it to de-ice so that I could wing walk. You're welcome. Even if they lied about it not being a heavy bag, and it's definitely a heavy bag, but they didn't put a heavy sticker on it, or maybe the gate agent forgot to check it, but it's definitely a heavy bag. You've definitely smacked yourself in the face with a bag at least once. And your bag is taking that 50-kilogram bag, about 90 pounds, that you thought was like 25. You follow me here? I will never forget that moment. My life flashed before my eyes. Which normally people don't look out their window when they're on a plane, because I always want to wave to passengers, or I always want to dance with the wands, but nobody ever looks out the window except like kids. And I'm like, you know, the kids are there though. The kids are fun to wave to, and the kids always look so excited because they probably think I'm holding lightsabers, and maybe they think I'm a Jedi, which is so much cooler than I actually am. It makes me so happy.